Oh. Well, hello there. Welcome to my little cafe. I hope you didn't have a hard time finding it. There's not a ton of us around, but there are some. Get this guy cleaned up here. I don't think I've seen you around before. Oh, okay. Well, the sound guy. Yeah, he's a nice guy. I like him. No particular reason, but I find him a very interesting character, to say the least. Yeah. So, is this your first time at a little cafe like this? Yeah. Okay. Well, we do all kinds of different things. We can do French presses, Chemex, a bunch of different things. But since this is your first time, I do have a standing rule, and that is that your first cup is on the house, but I get to prepare it for you. So I am a little backed up on my orders, so I hope you don't mind taking a minute. Just relax, let me catch up on a couple of these orders, and kind of talk about what kind of stuff that we make here, and kind of feel out what kind of flavors you're looking for, and then we can make something special for you, okay? Alright. Okay, so let me check what my first order was here. Okay. Alright, so first order is this guy. There we go. This, you haven't seen it before, this is a V60 pour-over cone, designed for human hands, obviously. I will warm my water back up here. But yeah, so the Hario V60, apparently that's boiling rather quickly. That's nice, I won't have to wait very long. So the Hario V60 is a really nice brewing for a little more of a cleaner flavor than you get from your standard like mechanical drip brew. This is a really good entry level too if you're thinking about doing some basic coffee stuff on your own. The Hario V60, perfect place to get started. And they wanted something that has a little bit of a fuller body but a clean taste. So we have a bean from Panama. That's what we have here. You know anything about the process of brewing coffee? Oh, well, you might find this interesting then. So this is used with a paper filter. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse the paper filter. And what that does is it prevents the paper from giving a papery taste. The mill where these are made, there's a lot of paper dust, and that can get inside of the coffee, and we don't want that. So, I'm just gonna take this guy. I have a little waste bin right here. There. Now everything is all warmed up You don't even have to worry about the coffee getting cold. So I have this ground to just a little bit more coarse than you would get from a store-bought coffee. So we do hand grind all of our coffee. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give that a nice little shake. And it'll just kind of set the grounds in there like that. And the next step is called blooming. So we're just going to take a little bit of this water, rather. We're just going to put just enough. And what that does is it allows the coffee to expand, release its carbon dioxide, and it will actually grow a little bit too. Let that off gas for a minute here. And then we'll add just about 300 grams of water is what we're going to add. We got about 15 grams of coffee, 15 grams of coffee to 300 grams of water is just about where we want it. Okay. Smell that? Oh, it's fantastic. This is a medium body at a medium roast. So we have all different kinds of roasts. We have some of the light roast stuff, which is actually rather hard to find. This is the stuff that I like. So we're going to add just about 300 grams of water. And we'll probably stop a couple times because we don't want the water to have too much contact with the ground. So we're just going to make little circles. There. Okay, perfect. We're going to wait for the drawdown. It's just pulling the coffee through. And so while we're waiting for that, what kind of flavors do you like? Okay, so something a little bit more sweet and a little bit of a more fuller flavor. Okay, well, I find the next one interesting then, because I think that one that one will be interesting. I think I'll find that very interesting. Okay. Alright, so now that we have this here, I'm going to bring my little pan here. Just take the whole thing and drop that in there. Okay. We're just going to give that a nice fill. Alright. Set this guy over here. There you go. Fantastic. I think they'll love that. I'm just going to take that to them. I'll be right back. Alright, so now we are on to the next one. This one I think you'll find really interesting. And this is something new that we've been working with. This is called a Vietnamese theme. We're on vacation in Vietnam, and they were using these in one of the little cafes, one of the little pop-up cafe places. Really interesting. We have a top, and have this little plate. But inside, have a little, it's almost like a little miniature pot, if you will. And a little plunger. And how we go about making this is we're going to put the plate on top of it. Just like that. And put this guy right on top. Now, waiting for that to boil. Traditionally, you would put about 2 tablespoons worth of sweetened condensed milk inside of the cup. And we're going to skip that so that the person can put in as much as they want. Some people want a little bit more sweet, some people want it a little bit more body. This way they can choose to do it whichever way they like. This particular brewing method usually does better with a little bit more, something that's a little more robust. So, this is a coffee that has a little bit more of a coarse grind from Costa Rica. Costa Rica makes fantastic coffee. If you're not sure where to start with Costa Rica. Put that in there. And just like before, just like we did, we're going to do a little bloom, which is just a little bit of coffee, and go get a little bit of coffee. That'll be super concentrated, but a little bit of the water just again to let that carbon dioxide come out of that coffee a little bit. I'm not going to wait nearly as long as we did on the other. And then this is where this piece comes in. You just drop it in just like that. You can compact it a little bit if you want. You just don't want it super compacted. This is an interesting one. This is like a cross between a French press and pour over, like what we started with. Okay, well, I think that looks good. Alright, so I'll go ahead and we will. This one's pretty easy, you don't really have to measure. Now we're just going to leave that alone for a minute and let it do its thing. So I haven't seen you around here very much. Are you just passing through, or do you have a destination? Okay. Okay. Well, I Certainly don't mean to barge into your business for sure. I will say that if you're going in that direction, in the direction of the woods, to be careful, because it seems that a lot of people that go in that direction, that something happens to them. So be careful if you're going to venture in that direction. Yeah. I'm just going to lift this and check this here. Looks like we're still going a little bit. It's alright. Take as long as it wants. So is this your first time ordering coffee in a cafe like this? No, I completely understand. There's so many different kinds of coffee and so many different ways to prepare them. It can be a little intimidating to get started, for sure, for sure. Okay. Well, I think we've got just about got this guy whipped. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the theme off here. Put him in my little... Alright, and there we go. Another fantastic cup, and they can be sweetened to their heart's delight. Fantastic. I'll be right back. I'll just gonna go and give this to them, and I'll be right back. Okay. Alright. So now, you might have seen this one before. Let's see. If you've seen one of these. Yes. This is the all-powerful Chemex. This is the Clean King. Absolutely. Now, sometimes the Chemex paper filters can be really hard to get a hold of, so we've opted for a metal filter. Metal filter won't give you the flavor that's as clean, but what it will give you is a little bit more robust flavor that's still pretty clean. Cleaner than the V60 actually, which is, it's a good margin. But in a perfect world, try to get that Chemex filter. That's in a perfect world. So, we're going to use that. Actually, I'm going to spin the spout around like this. You can get all kinds of Chemexes, ones that have handles on them, and some use fabric filters. We haven't, or I haven't rather, gone after a fabric filter yet, but that's always a possibility. Gonna get this guy boiling back up again, and same kind of ratio is that 300 to 15 grams. Just going to get things ready while that goes. In the meantime, while that's getting going, what we're going to be doing in this one is we're going to be using a coffee from Ethiopia. This is a light roasted coffee. It will have more tastes of strawberry and cherry, a little bit of an earthy flavor to it. Really good when it's in a clean Chemex. Although, to be fair, I think that would taste pretty fantastic in a French press too, because it would bring it would allow those flavors to come out a little bit more, because the boiling water would have more contact, more time with the grounds. But for this guy, I'm going to go ahead and put him in. And of course, if this was a paper filter, I would rinse that. Okay. We'll go ahead and get this guy going. That's right, we're going to do the bloom again. So we're just going to... just enough to saturate the grounds, and actually with this one, just going to shake those around just a little bit. There we go. Allows the water to really get in there and really saturate those grounds. Yeah, get that saturated in there. Got a little timer that I'm watching, so it allows that. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to add, now that was probably around 50 some odd grams of water. So we're going to, let's just do this. Let's tare, there we go, start off at 0. And we're going to add, since that was about 50 grams, we're going to add 250 grams of water to this. I'm just going to watch my scale. I'm going to let that draw down for a minute. I start seeing surface tension come back, then we'll start again. Just so the water doesn't stay in contact too long. Perfect. Yep, we're going to wait for that draw down again for that water to come through those grounds. And then it'll be your turn. Couple of drips. Couple of drips. Get my basin here. We just about got it. Put that in there and we'll clean that later. Perfect. Alright. And now I'm going to pour this to this cotton. That's going to be just wonderful. Just going to get this to them, and we'll be right back and see how much you've learned. So now that we've gone through and we've done some of these, what would you like? Would you like something a little more of a mild body, or something a little bit fuller? Okay, a little fuller. Do you want something sweet, something acidic, something bitter, something sweet? Okay, and you want that bold flavor. Well, I think that Ethiopian coffee in a French press would be just perfect for you. So, in case you have not seen one, this is a French press. This is where the filter is. This is a wire mesh filter that we're going to use here. I set that down for a minute. And This can be, especially when you're getting started, the most difficult, because there's a period of time, quite a long period of time, where you can't do anything. So, to get started, we're gonna once again get our water going. This is another, as you probably guess, another 15 to 300. 15 grams of coffee going in. There we go. Just like that. Even those out a little bit. Now, as soon as I can tear it, there we go, we're going to add those 300 grams of water to it. Just like that. We do want to try and agitate. There we go. Agitate those grounds. We're going to pop the lid on. There's a little spout on here. There. Just like that. Just like that. Now, I make the French press a little bit different than most. So in a normal, when you see someone make it, they'll plunge this all the way down. I don't do that because you're just going to aggravate those grounds, and we don't want that. So we're just going to give it a minute. And then I'm going to support this top. And what it's done is as it's bloomed, just like before, it's going to make a little crust on top. I'm just going to plunge that in. Break up that crust. And now the hardest part of the whole process of making French press. Don't touch it for about 8 minutes. And that is excruciating. So, in the meantime, let me tell you a little bit about the area. Especially since you want to go up towards the forest. At least the little bits that I hear is that there's almost like a miasma kind of thing that's kind of fallen over that particular part of the forest lately. And depending on the person, you can react pretty negatively to it. It can even make you pass out, depending on the person, of course. Normally, reptilian individuals such as myself don't worry about disease so much. We're usually pretty hard to get sick. Not that we can't, but usually it's a little bit harder to get us sick than what some humans get sick with. So let's bear that in mind. So while this is brewing, I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup. As you know, you kind of want to do cleanup as you go because it can become very messy very quick. As you see, I've got some stuff laid around here. So I will be right back, and we will get your French press going, and then I cannot wait to see what you think of it. So I'll be right back, and we'll just let this go here. Alright. So now what we're going to do, put your cup here. Now I'm going to depress the plunger, but just enough to break the surface tension of the coffee and push those grounds just a little bit. Just about there. That's all I'm going to do. Now I'm going to let the wire strainer do the rest. I'm going to pour it almost like a beer. There. Just like that. And then we'll break that surface tension just like that. Now I'll suppress the rest of that. And there you go, 250 grams of absolutely fantastic coffee that I'm excited for you to try. If you want to put cream and sugar in it, go for it, no problem. My only request is try one little swallow without anything to really get the taste of that coffee. This is really good coffee, and I can't wait to see what you guys... This is really good coffee, and I can't wait to see what you think of it. So there's that for you. Okay. And we do have some rooms, so feel free to stay for the night so you don't have to rush out right quick. And again, be careful. Be careful out there in those woods. Those woods can be really treacherous, especially during harvest season. Everyone around seems to get kind of weird around harvest season, and just there's some weird characters. One character in particular that's kind of a off guy, and he supposedly lives out there, and apparently you can only find him if you need him, something like that, not sure. If you do me a favor, the next time you see that sound doctor, tell him thank you from me for telling you about us, because we're just kind of getting started. We moved. We're just still trying to get everything set back up. We really appreciate it, and feel free to come back anytime. You have a fantastic night, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye now.